touch, yeah, how? Okay. Hin, gao, shin, lai, dao, je, li. I'm very excited to be here with you. It's a true honor to be presenting in this mammoth conference of Alibaba. Actually, originally, I come from Israel, from the old city of Jerusalem. And the old city's got a big wall, as you can see. As a young kid, I used to walk around this wall in the old city and observe through the holes and monitor certain things. And it was great coming here. I did this 10 years ago. But to be able to come to China Wall, which is absolutely mammoth, similar to sort of Alibaba, very big. And I was cloudy day yesterday, or actually on Sunday, was a cloudy day. So I felt like I was in the clouds, the Alibaba clouds over there. But I was reminded by a saying by Chairman Mao, saying, you are not a hero until you climb the wall. How many people here, and I'm not sure if you have climbed the wall, you're all heroes, right? Excellent. So we'll move on. Okay, so just when we talk about the topic of cloud, and often people mistake the cloud with just another piece of technology. So the cloud itself is not so much about technology, it's not so much about where computing is done. It's more about the customer and the customer experience and how computing is done, not where it is done, how you do it. It's a cultural shift. So we see a lot of organizations actually re-platforming to the cloud. They're using multiple clouds, including Alibaba Cloud, but there's so many different clouds, and they re-platform to enable them to be agile, flexible, and to drive automation. Now, the reason that they re-platform is to help them to accelerate the innovation, the speed of innovation. That's the key reason that people are actually moving from the cloud platform, to help them speed up the release cycle, speed up time to market. And the reason that they want to speed up the time to market, the key reason, is to make sure that they have satisfied customers, happy customers, right? And obviously the key reason that they want happy customers, satisfied customers, and differentiate from customer experience is to ensure that they obviously stay relevant and generate revenue, but beyond just the local. Alibaba now has become international. They just opened up clouds in Australia, clouds in Japan, clouds in Europe and North America. So most organizations, especially cloud-based companies, are becoming global. So the idea is to differentiate on speed of innovation, to try and make sure that you differentiate on customer experience to generate more revenue and to keep your customers close to you. And we know, and I don't need to say this, that the cloud market is absolutely massive, like 67 billion just last year, and estimation is 162 billion by 2020. So the growth is huge. Actually, just before I came here, there was a Gartner report that showed the top growth in cloud providers. But we all know about Amazon and Microsoft. But how many of you knew that Alibaba is actually the third largest cloud provider? As a matter of fact, they're the fastest growing cloud provider in the world, nearly 29%. And before I came here, I was speaking to some of the executives of the Alibaba Cloud. They were telling me, again this year, this is 2016, again this year, nearly 130%. So the number's gone from either 675 million to about 1 billion, or even more than that. So and most of that growth is happening inside China. China is actually, if you look at the graph, China growth of cloud computing is on a trajectory faster than anywhere else in the world. So we know that the organizations are adopting cloud in China at a massive speed. Okay, but we know that it is also not easy. We know that it is hard. Most people think about cloud, about just the computing. There's a lot more to it than just the computing aspect. We need to make sure that we have developed, deploy, run, compute, and measure, and continually look at it from an end-to-end perspective. As I was introduced, my name is Rafi Katanasho. I'm the CTO of Dynatrace for the Asia Pacific region. And I work with many organizations around this region, helping them move to the cloud and making sure that it's a success moving to the cloud. You can connect with me if you're on LinkedIn. I'm not sure how many of you are on LinkedIn or Twitter, along those. But now I'm just going to focus on maybe the 3 key things on getting to the path to the cloud. What are most organizations I'm talking to, the path that they're taking to moving to the cloud? How can they be successful? The first and most important aspect of it is nothing to do with technology. Nothing to do with technology. It's about culture of the organization. We see culture of typically silos from product management, user experience management, development, QA, DBAs on one side, and on the other side you see system administrators, network administrators, SAN administrators. And typically you've got a project team that will help run this as a project by project, and they try to collaborate these teams. The new way, and my recommendation, and this is certainly best practice, is now to move to product teams rather than project teams. You have a product that you own that product. You have multiple product teams that communicate with the platform, like Alibaba Cloud platform, using APIs, obviously, to be able to automate things. Right? Without APIs, you can't automate. So let's look at the 3 most common ways, other than culture, that people do to actually migrate to the cloud. The first thing that I'm seeing, one of the key things, is people wanted to get to this what we call continuous delivery. So, and as part of that, people are taking some workloads and doing lift and shift. So if I wanted this workload, move it from my enterprise into a cloud platform, it could be on-prem or could be in a public cloud platform. And continuous delivery, or as I call it, reversing the words in English, deliver continuously, might be, it's still a challenge the first time, but you need to do it once, but you need to do it continuously in order to be, so that gives you speed. So, but you need to do this with an automated way. Now the dream is to have a system that looks like this, where you have a pipeline and you end up delivering applications that have got happy customers at the end of it. That's what most people would like to do. Reality, as I talk to customers, it's more like this. They try to move things to the cloud, things go wrong because planning didn't go well, or they haven't tested certain things, or as they move it, performance sort of started being impacted. And the reason is because, as we know, that you need to be making sure that you can automate stuff, but you need to ensure that garbage in, garbage out. So what you're automating has got to have quality. Speed is good, but speed without quality is not going to give you the returns. So you need to make sure that the automation automates the performance measurement, automates the observation across the entire pipeline, from the architecture stage to the CI/CD, performance testing and operations, and obviously from a business and customer experience. And that needs to loop back. To do that, you need a system that helps you discover the entire environment, all the way from the data centers on Ali Cloud and the application layers, but it needs to be smart. It needs to apply artificial intelligence to help you do the right planning, to help you move faster and operate simpler. I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration using Tmall Genie that communicates with our AI-based engine to help you move these things. So let's have a look at the demonstration.
天猫精灵，打开性能专家。
你好，我是 Davis， 怎么了？
天猫精灵，打开性能专家。
你好，我是 Davis， 怎么了？试着问我关于用户的活动，或者说帮助找出我能做的事情。
天猫精灵，性能专家来自哪家公司？
Dynatrace。
天猫精灵，性能专家打开仪表板。
好的，没问题，这是你的 Dynatrace 仪表板，请问还需要些什么？
天猫精灵，性能专家打开我的应用。
好吧，这是你的 Dynatrace Smartscape 仪表板，我还能帮你什么忙吗？
天猫精灵，性能专家今天有没有事故？
今天早上6点至7点之间 ，Easy Travel 出现一个事故，你想了解事故的细节吗？
So you get the idea. This is we're trying to teach this artificial intelligence. This is still in beta, at least the Tmol Genie, and we're teaching it Mandarin at the moment for communicating back with our AI-based engine. But the idea is you have an AI engine that learns everything, discovers everything, and helps you understand what you can shift and move into a cloud-based environment. It's really important as you're doing it to plan it beforehand, make sure that understand the dependencies, and as you shift it into the cloud, be able to measure it and continually improve it. Absolutely critical. The second phase that people is moving your journey to microservices. And the way I describe the microservices, it's almost like scooping. This is actually a quote from Keith Fulton, the CTO for ADP at a Docker conference. And he's saying the first thing you need to do is basically scoop your first microservice. You might have a monolith of an application. The monolith of application may look something like this. You have a single container or single process that's delivering so many services at the top. That's what a monolith of an application looks like. But as you move to microservices, you're going to have more one-to-one relationship. You know, one service basically, deliver one service dependent on one JVM. So the number of JVMs, the number of containers, the number of environments is going to grow exponentially. It's going to become much more difficult to be able to measure and manage your actual environment. So this is, I know we're at an Alibaba conference, but this is a great quote from Werner Vogel, the CTO for Amazon, who said, okay, well, if you run it, if you build it, you must run it. Meaning that the development need to take ownership back of their code. As you develop something and push it into a cloud environment, you need to be able to make sure that you're accountable for it. So you need to be able to have visibility from a microservices perspective. Understand all the components in your microservices containers, understand the relationships, and know the component if you've actually delivered, and how is it impacting the rest of the chain in a microservices environment. Absolutely critical. And in a cloud environment, obviously, you need to be able to cover all the clouds. So it needs to be part of the platform. The key message I want to tell you is as you move to the cloud, monitoring has to be part of the platform. And you cannot say it is his responsibility or their responsibility. It's ultimately the organizational responsibility because you are delivering a service to your customers. So I know Alibaba will deliver on their services, but obviously there's much more than the infrastructure layer. There's an application layer and they're all connected. So you need to be making sure that the monitoring is part of the platform. The third thing to do is to actually move into what I call dynamic microservices environment. So now you've learned from shifting your first workload to the cloud. You've done the scoop, the first microservice, and now you are about to scale it into a large-based environment. So here's where the environment is going to start getting really complex, right? So you've got code complexity, but the environment complexity is going to explode. This is an example from one of our customers. Actually, this is a small environment, by the way, of a microservices that they moved a simple application, actually, on a microservice environment. The number of JVMs went to 22,000 JVMs very quickly, all these different containers. How is a human going to be able to troubleshoot this kind of environment? It is very difficult, very complex for a human. That's why artificial intelligence, deterministic artificial intelligence, we've heard about machine learning a bit early on, but machine learning without deterministic artificial intelligence cannot work in this real-time world. You need deterministic, not correlation, but causation. Business impact to root cause in a deterministic way. I can't say I'm 70% sure. You can't do that in the automation. You need to have better data, more deterministic AI on this data. Because your cloud environment is going to be very fluid. At 8 a.m. in the morning, you might have it looking like this. At 8:15, it might be looking like this. As you scale up, add more instances. And 12 a.m., you roll it back down. It's very elastic, very scalable. So you need to make sure that the monitoring is expanding with it as it goes. And when something goes wrong, you're almost going to get like the mushroom effect. This is a cloud from Arizona about 6 months ago. Here's an example from our product. When something went wrong in a very simple environment, this is the root cause impact tree analysis. This took, get this, 820 billion dependencies to be analyzed in the system to be able to determine a root cause of a problem. Now imagine just the human mind, a human number of people. You cannot throw people at this problem. So, and the root cause actually was Docker container, network connectivity in Docker containers, right? It would have taken months and would have been almost impossible to find that needle in the haystack of that sort of environment. But with AI, we were able to do it. And you're able to replay, the problem as it happened. You've captured it, and you can replay step by step, impact to root cause. You no longer need to reproduce the problem because you've captured it and you can replay it. You understand the business impact. How many users were impacted on that specific application? What was the root cause? Deterministic AI causation and anomaly detection on specific things that can tell you how many users, where they're coming from, and exactly what happened, right? Without you having to do much. A single agent installed on each VM that is installed in Alibaba Cloud or any cloud, a PaaS or infrastructure as a service, and the rest of it is automated. It's learning and it's building the dynamic map for you automatically. So in summary, it is absolutely critical on your journey to the cloud to make sure that continuous monitoring must be a core feature of your cloud platform. Absolutely critical as you do it. Some people learn the hard way, they move stuff because they need to move it quickly, and then they learn that they have dissatisfied customers, or potentially they can add more cloud compute, not certainly solving the performance issues. You can add more compute, but doesn't necessarily mean that you've solved your customer experience performance issues. So it's important to look at it end-to-end, from a customer experience all the way to the infrastructure and the network connectivity end-to-end. With that, I'd like to thank you for obviously the last session of the day. If you would like to see this live with the GD, please visit our booth today or the next few days. D3, I think D358, Dynatrace. By the way, Dynatrace is the largest monitoring company in the world. We're 2 times the size of anyone else in our competition. We're 7 times market leader. So we'd love to actually be seeing you, connecting with you. If you have that, please join us at the booth. Thank you.